The arena lights dimmed without warning. Not the usual transition. Not the cue for a superstar entrance. This darkness felt heavier, like a storm cloud settling inside the building. The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't boo. They waited. Because deep down, everyone sensed this wasn't going to be just another match. This was going to be something else. Something uncomfortable. Something violent. Something unforgettable. And when the lights returned, the stage was set for a collision between two forces that should never have existed in the same space, and, inside the world of On. A match that felt bigger than wrestling. Every week, fans tune in expecting competition, athleticism, rivalries, championships. But this confrontation carried a different energy from the moment it was announced. On one side stood the silent enforcer, a competitor built on discipline, destruction, and dominance. A man who doesn't waste motion, doesn't chase attention, and doesn't fear confrontation. On the other side stood something far less predictable. A figure surrounded by symbolism, shadows, and psychological warfare. A presence that doesn't simply fight opponents, it unsettles them. This wasn't just strength versus strength. It was certainty versus chaos. The arrival of Solo, precision, power, and purpose. When Solo made his entrance, there was no spectacle. No flashy lights. No theatrical pauses. Just a focused walk to the ring. That's always been his identity. He doesn't entertain, he executes. Every step toward the ring looked like preparation. Every glance toward the ropes looked like calculation. Fans understood immediately what that meant. Someone was about to get hurt. But this time, the opponent wasn't someone who could be intimidated. The atmosphere changes. Before the bell even rang, something felt off. The arena lighting refused to stay steady. A low static sound echoed through the speakers. The kind of production, glitch, that didn't feel accidental. Fans looked at each other. They knew what was coming. Then came the distorted laughter. And the temperature in the building seemed to drop. Uncle Howdy emerges, slowly. Unlike most entrances designed to excite the audience, this one made people uneasy. The music didn't blast. It crept. A slow, eerie rhythm filled the arena as Howdy appeared, not rushing, not posing, just standing there, staring toward the ring. There's something unsettling about an opponent who doesn't react to crowd noise. Who doesn't acknowledge cheers or jeers. Who behaves as though the match is already happening inside their mind. Solo stood still, watching. No fear, just readiness. The bell rings, and the styles clash instantly. The moment the bell sounded, Solo charged forward. No hesitation. A thunderous shoulder tackle sent Howdy crashing backward, a statement that physicality would dictate this fight. But instead of rolling away or retaliating immediately, Howdy rose slowly. Deliberately. That pause created the first psychological crack in the rhythm of the match. Because Solo's style depends on momentum. And momentum can't build when time itself feels distorted. Strikes that echoed through the arena. Solo unleashed a barrage of offense. Crushing body shots. Corner attacks that shook the turnbuckles. A devastating slam that would normally end a contest early. Each move landed with authority. Each impact drew loud reactions from the crowd. Yet Howdy refused to stay down. Not dramatically. Not heroically. Just, persistently. It was less like watching someone fight back and more like watching something refuse to be erased. The crowd becomes part of the story. What made this match special wasn't just the action, it was how the audience reacted. Instead of constant chants, waves of silence spread between bursts of noise. Fans weren't sure whether to cheer Solo's dominance or stare at Howdy's eerie resilience. That emotional uncertainty transformed the match into an experience. It felt less like sport. More like suspense. Solo takes control, or so it seems. Midway through the match, Solo's aggression peaked. He began dismantling Howdy with ruthless efficiency. A spinning strike. A running hip attack into the corner. A punishing throw to the canvas. This was the version of Solo that overwhelms opponents, the version that doesn't just win, but imposes reality. The crowd roared as he prepared his finishing move. Everything pointed toward a decisive ending. The lights flicker again. Just as Solo charged forward to finish it, the lights cut out. Total darkness. For a heartbeat, the arena went silent. When the lights returned, Howdy was no longer where he had fallen. He stood behind Solo, not attacking, just there. The sudden reversal stunned the audience, and, for the first time, forced Solo to react instead of dictate. Momentum shifts into something stranger. Howdy began targeting timing instead of strength. He avoided direct exchanges, redirected movement, broke rhythm. Where Solo fought with force, Howdy fought with unpredictability. This contrast created a match dynamic rarely seen. One competitor trying to end things quickly, the other stretching the moment, bending it, reshaping it. A fight between two philosophies. At its core, the match wasn't just physical. It symbolized two opposing ideas. Solo represents structure, lineage, discipline, and raw execution. Howdy represents disruption, the unknown, the uncomfortable, the uncontrollable. And as the match progressed, neither philosophy could fully overpower the other. Every time Solo reasserted dominance, something strange interrupted it. Every time Howdy tried to distort the pace, Solo dragged things back into reality with sheer force. The climactic exchange. The final sequence brought the crowd to its feet. Solo launched a devastating strike. Howdy countered. Solo responded with another crushing blow. Howdy refused to fall. Back and forth, power collided with persistence until both competitors stood exhausted, staring at one another in the center of the ring. It was no longer about winning. It was about proving which force could endure longer. The ending that sparked debate. Then, without warning, the arena lights dimmed once more. A sound echoed. Static filled the screen. And when visibility returned, the moment had dissolved into confusion. Officials rushed in. The match halted. The outcome unclear. No clean victory. No definitive conclusion. Just questions. Why this Smackdown match stood out. In an era filled with high-speed action and predictable climaxes, this match succeeded because it embraced tension and storytelling. It wasn't about how many moves were executed. It was about atmosphere. About contrast. About the idea that not every battle in wrestling is solved by strength alone. The aftermath. Fans left wanting answers. As the show ended, speculation exploded. Was this rivalry just beginning? Can Solo adapt to an opponent he cannot simply overpower? Is Howdy trying to prove something deeper than victory? Will their next encounter have rules, or abandon them entirely? That uncertainty is what keeps audiences invested. Because sometimes, the most compelling stories aren't the ones that end. They're the ones that refuse to. Final reflection. This wasn't just a Smackdown highlight. It was a reminder of what makes wrestling unique, the ability to merge athletic competition with character-driven storytelling, where physical battles and psychological tension can exist. Side by side, Solo brought the fight, Howdy brought the mystery, and together, they delivered a match that didn't just happen inside a ring, it lingered in the minds of everyone who watched it. The arena lights dimmed without warning. Not the usual transition. Not the cue for a superstar entrance. This darkness felt heavier, like a storm cloud settling inside the building. The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't boo. They waited. Because deep down, everyone sensed this wasn't going to be just another match. This was going to be something else. Something uncomfortable. Something violent. Something unforgettable. And when the lights returned, the stage was set for a collision between two forces that should never have existed in the same space, and, inside the world of On. A match that felt bigger than wrestling. Every week, fans tune in expecting competition.